Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Wanted to show another part of putting different colours into my 21st century watercolour book, travel kit. And these are the Windsor and Newton little pans that I've taken out and cut a couple of millimetres off, and then just stuck them on. It's a watercolour postcard. Just needed something that little bit stronger for this. The others are quite okay on photocopy paper and sketchbook paper, but because you've got a little bit of weight here, I've used these postcards, and we call them A4 in the UK, which are um, 5 3/4 by just short of 4, 6 by 4. Because of course this is a photo album from Paper Chase for 6 by 4 photographs. So and I have actually used one of the photographic papers to hold the peerless in. So we've got 18 Dr. Martens Hydrus, and you've got to keep this really flat, and the phthalo green and phthalo blue ran into each other because I didn't keep this very flat, because this is just like water when it comes out as a liquid to start with. And we have 45, the complete set of peerless. We have the Windsor and Newton, sorry, the Derwent Graphitint. So there'll be 24 on, there'll be 12 squares pencil scribbled on there, and there'll be 12 on this side, protected by that. But at the front, I'm going to put this onto this page. So this is photocopy paper that's just cut lengthways. Because of course if you cut our UK A4 in half, you get A6, and then that will sit on top of there and be protected by this plastic here. But I am going to cut another sheet of plastic for extra protection, and also to use this as a plastic palette as well. So just to come out of here and so I'll just move that slightly out of the way. So these are the colours that I've put together in 6. Oops. How I'm going to put them in the book. And they're going to sit like that in the book. So I'm just going to put some more lines because I want to label. So we want a little slither either side. Now if you do this in pencil, the pencil, if it gets wet, will run, so have to remember that. So we've got that one, and so that's that one. Those two, that's that one, so we need another one here. And it doesn't have to be very neat. So there's 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, another one on there. You can put the full pans, but there's still quite a lot. And I'm not going to get the yellow out of there because it's kind of gone a bit... But you need the cad yellow, because if you've got the yellow and the cad yellow, there isn't a colour that you can't make. So you need the 2 reds. You need a warm and a cold yellow, warm and a cold red, and a warm and a cold blue. So I'm going to have to buy another yellow because that one's kind of disintegrated a little bit. So they're going in like that. And I want to label them, but I want to label them with a fine pen. So, and so we can label them. So that's going to be cad yellow. Again with that silly draw. I'll just swap those round now, because that's cad yellow. So really carefully, very carefully, we need to take and first rule of thumb is if it slips, it's not going to cut you. So just very carefully around the outside. Now some pop out quite nicely and some don't. I think if you can pop them in the fridge, if you pop them in the fridge for a little while, that probably would be better. But most of them behave themselves. It's just odd colours that don't. I'm just teasing that out. I'm not going to do that one. It's too squishy. I'm going to leave the yellows. So I'll label them. The 2 I'm going to buy some new ones and put them in the fridge because they're kind of a bit yuck. So the next one will be lemon yellow. So we want that one for a test of colour, and then this one would be lemon yellow. And this one is yellow ochre. And the next one should be cerulean blue. And then this one should be, I could tip them all up, couldn't we? If they were all the right way up. And these are only out of, I paid £6, but I think they're about £8 or £10, this little set by Windsor and Newton. It's just I can't open this tin, and also the idea that I've got them in my little book was quite good. So there's French ultramarine under cerulean blue. I don't think it is French ultramarine, but it's ultramarine. and then cobalt blue at the bottom. And then we've got cadmium red. And then we've got alizarin crimson. The lemon yellow, and then we've got burnt sienna. And then we've got burnt umber. The cad yellow, and then we've got viridian green, and we've got sap green. And that's a lot of colour, you know, that probably in there, as long as you had the two yellows and everything else, there isn't a colour you can't mix from there. Is that showing up okay? It's because the colours disappeared of the... Oops. The colours disappeared. If I can try and put that here. That might not flash out quite as bad. Oh, hi, Mariel, sorry. Glasses on. Hi, sorry, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm just recording, putting the watercolours into the little book. And I just thought I'd show how I do it. So you've got to be a little bit careful with it. I hope you're well this morning. This is the live stream from ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube. I think this is about the third or fourth. Oh, sorry, my husband's phone's going off and he's upstairs. There's probably, and it's going to just ring. Oh dear. I'm sure he's gone upstairs, and all the puppies are asleep. Shh, all the dogs are asleep. You've got to be really careful if you're using scalpels, though. So, two rules. First one, don't have anybody near you because they'll knock you. Second one, if it's going to slip, it's got to slip away from you so it can't do any damage. And if you always follow those rules, you should be okay. So I'll pop the sap green in because I think this will pop out quite nice. So I'll move that out of the way just carefully, and then what you need to do is to put the blade in and just very, oops, see, that wasn't very careful, was it? So, and the other rule is always wear glasses when you use these scalpels, because when they snap, you don't know where they're going. I've lost the blade. It's popped out. Marie, sorry, I've tried to. I do apologise. I'm terrible with. Let's see if we can get that into there. Oopsie. You have to be very careful with these. So we'll do this gently this time. So, as again, always try and put glasses on if you've got. Just very carefully stroke. I'm going to put the others. I'm going to buy some new ones because the yellow ones are a bit yuck, and I'm going to put them in the fridge just to harden them up. And they should pop out. I'm sure these popped out, but I think because they're quite old, they've gone a bit kind of yucky. But I know some of them just pop out, and then if you can just tease it out. It's because you've obviously been using with water and they kind of get a bit. There we go. And bearing in mind, I've already done this. This is quite thin because I've already taken 2 millimeters off already. If you look at this one. This is the one that pops. This is the one that just pops straight out. You can see the difference. Oops. Because I've already taken out a couple of milliliters. So you don't need much, and I don't know which is going to be better, so let's just have a try with. I may not be able to hold these. But if we nip that, yeah, I can't use those. My hands don't work very well. So that's kind of stuck down now. And basically what you do is you just put a little line of colour. Can you see what I'm doing? Can we see that? And I'm just sliding it, and again, if it's going to slip, it's going to go down here. It's not going to go anywhere near me. It's going, and I'm just stroking it gently, and that way you don't put any pressure on the blade, and you don't put any pressure on here. I'll turn that over and just see if now I didn't hold it with anything, but if you've got because my hands won't grip anymore, so it would be more, I will find this too dangerous for me. But again, but the idea is if you hold it gently and just stroke the blade down, do it on a chopping board, and then you can always wipe your chopping board. But any kitchen knife, any serrated kitchen knife would do. A little paring knife would do. And just treat it as if you're cutting onions, you know, if the knife slips. I've always taught my children that. And again, just very carefully. Some are a lot squishier. Now I'm going to use my fingernails because I cannot grip with that. And again, now that's... If it's harder, it's a bit easier, and it's gone, you see. So because I've done this twice now, I've left with that. But that I'm not bothered about that. That's fine. So I can put that back in there, and it doesn't look like I've used any. Or I can push it down, because it's very rare I use these in the pans. So now I have a complete couple of millimeters of colour, and there's a lot of colour there. There doesn't look to be a lot, but there is. In fact, I'm going to put that one in because it's a giveaway. It's for the giveaway, so I'll keep that bit for me. Oh, mind you, that's just a bit too fat, isn't it? It's just a bit too fat. You want a nice flat square because it'll sit nice and it'll glue flat as well. So no, I can't use that because it's not as flat. So this one was the sap green. So we'll stick that on the sap green, and I bought this from the model show. Quite like model shows because my husband thinks I can't, because I can't get out, I can't spend, but I still manage to spend. So pick the flat. Normally at the bottom it will be flat. If you do this once, the bottom is obviously flat, and so you can put your glue in here. You probably don't need that much, and all you do, my fingers don't work particularly well, and we'll drop that. We can put that in the middle, can't we? We could put it there. And if we wanted to kind of squish the glue around the outside, we could do. But that, once that's glued down there, once that's dried, that's not going anywhere. And that's all pure colour. Oops. Marie, sorry, I do apologise. Being dyslexic, sometimes I, my daughter's the same. We read things and we've read them completely wrong. Yeah, I was looking at the craft things and they're really expensive, but model shows are sometimes a little bit cheaper. So I managed to pick up some of those, which are quite good, for I think £3 something. So I was very impressed, and you get extra tops as well. So I was very impressed with that. So that's going to be stuck down, and so that's actually exactly how I started to get all these in. My little book. So I say, welcome to Bonnie's Design. So that was what I wanted to do for the first section, is to take, I mean, I do love this little thing, but one is I can't always hold it, and the other one is it's the wrong size for me. It's uncomfortable for me. Whereas I open that up and I can just touch the colours, and all I'm doing is my hand's flat holding that down, and I use this as a palette. Unless I'm just colouring in which case I can just do that. So that's why I want, and the other thing is, of course, I had to try and get every single thing in here that I could. So it was an experiment, and I didn't expect them to stay on. I mean, I have put them on this Tail and Rowley Aquafine postcard. It's the only one, but of course there is quite a lot of weight in here. You know, there's quite a lot of colour in little squares for a paper palette, but it's still just stuck on photocopy paper. It's not on anything particular, but it's quite handy to have, and I just like the fact that I've got watercolours on here. So as I say, if they look a little bit sticky, which this one is, the yellows were, I'm going to buy some new ones and put them in the fridge. I don't think it'll do them any harm. So the next one I'm going to cut, and this is one I haven't cut before, is the Viridian Green. So I'm doing this, but for goodness sake, grip it with something else. It's just, I can't do that and be safe. My hands won't work, but I can just about hold that down, and then just very carefully, because although I don't eat meat anymore, I can't cut a steak anymore because I can't cut it. And this is a very hard one, so this is what it'll be like when it comes out. It probably would actually behave itself, because of course there's no reason why you can't hold it there. See, my hand, this hand will not grip anything, and just stroke that across, and then when you get halfway, turn it over and do the same thing. There was another pair, I had another pair of pliers somewhere here. You can, but I can't even shut these pliers. No, I can't shut the pliers. I can't even shut the pliers. I did do this a while ago, actually. But my hands are particularly bad today because I used them yesterday. So, and again, but if you just gently stroke, and I say, if this is going to slip, it's going down there. It's not going anywhere near me. Because one thing you don't want are these scalpel blades. But if you follow that rule, you see, and just gently stroke it. You can't put a lot of pressure on scalpel blades, they will snap, even going through paint, because this is solid paint. And it takes a minute or two, but you just keep gently stroking. And it just sounds like I'm pushing down on it, but I'm not really. This is solid hard colour. A paring knife would be good. Although I don't use, I've got some beautiful sharp knives for cooking, and I can't use them anymore, but never mind. In fact, I can't really do this. Maybe just gently. And it's not easy, but again, it's not a raise. Just I can't use this hand at all. But there's no reason why you can't buy the paints and ask somebody else to do this. You see, that slipped, but it went that way. You see, as long as it's going to slip away from you, it's fine. And for goodness sake, do not do it on your knee. You will cut straight through your knees if you slip. It has to be on a hard table, so all your legs are protected and your hands are away. And we have another piece. So that goes back in its little pot. And of course it's the top, so it looks exactly as it did before, except for it's just a little bit. But you've got now a couple of millimeters of beautiful colour. And always remember to put, as soon as you've finished. Now, I will wipe this, but for goodness sake, be careful. Again, wipe away. And if it's going to slip, it's not going to slip in your direction. And always put it back in its little safe, I think. I've lost the lid for that, but I've carried a scalpel around in my pencil case for years. This rubber wouldn't be any good. This one doesn't go, this isn't my proper scalpel blade. The scalpel blades are thin because it sticks out at the top. So always remember, the cheap long square rubbers are the best. So now that's quite flat, and we want some glue. And I'm putting quite a lot of glue on because this isn't for me, this is for the giveaway, so I don't want it to, I want it to last. I'd hate somebody to get it and say, oh, it fell off. Now the yellow one keeps falling off. So again, I'm going to put that in the middle. And I know all these travel kits are wonderful, but when you think what you've got, you have now got a good supply of pure pigment on there. And that's got to be the thinnest travel pack. Oh, hi Dorothy, welcome to Wendy's Designs. I'm putting my little watercolour pans, which, you know, they're quite light, but I can't open that tin, into the to the giveaway for my first giveaway, making a little book of colours. So that's going to sit on there. And, you know, it's a couple of millimetres. In fact, I don't think we can measure it now, could we? But I don't think they were. I think they're not quite 2 millimetres. They're not quite 2 millimetres. But there's a lot of colour on there. And then I don't know whether to let the person who gets it do it or whether to put the colour swatch on. I'll probably just do one. So you get some nice colour, and then oops, without a hair. Probably wasn't. You've got a bit of a colour grade now there. I am recording this, Dorothy. It's for YouTube as well as the Ustream. So, and then if I do the next one, you can see the difference. And I only put these in because they were in the set. So that's probably a little bit too wet, that. It's quite a vivid colour. But then if I put, I'm going to make a piece of plastic for packaging and put this at this side. So it's got to be quite thick plastic. If you put that at that side, you then have a palette that you can use. And I did slip some white. I'll probably glue some white behind, because really you should always have a white palette, because that shows you true colour. And you can't colour mix if you don't have a white. It's very difficult. So that's in the little book. So I shall put all these colours in here. The only thing you've got to remember is, if you do use this as a paper palette, you have to wipe it. And then you have to dry it with kitchen roll. Then you have to dry it. So this has to be perfectly clean and perfectly dry, because you are going to shut it onto there. Now if you shut it on wet, that's fine. You've got colour there for next time. It's just you can't have colour all over because you'll contaminate them. So I'll put the next one in. Oh, hi, LB. The book. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. Put my glasses on. It's Bunny Designs, I think. I think it's just Bunny's Designs. But it's capital B. It's capital B and capital D, no spaces. Yeah, I should, because I designed this a long time ago. Let me have a look. I find a pen that may work. Yes, it's capital B. I designed this logo when I was 16. And because there's lots of other bunny designs, but so it's a capital D. Oh, bless Dorothy, that's awful. Oh, that's a shock. Oh, bless. So I've labelled them. Can we see that? Is that okay? I think it's the colour thing as well. It's flashing out with the colour. Try and put mine back in. The camera seemed to like these colours. They did kind of like these colours. I can kind of leave those in there somewhere. That might be a little bit better. Can everybody see that? Is that okay? Does that look okay? Is that not blurred? I just wondered if that was all right. So I've done the green, so we can take those away. The yellow ochre. I'll just do the ones that are good, and then I'll buy the other ones, because I say this is for my giveaway, my first giveaway. I've told my daughter last night, and again that's a bit shorter because I've already taken some off there. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps because I can squint. Shh, don't tell the opticians that. So again, I'm doing it with my fingernails because they're quite long, but always remember to cut away from yourself. And you'll be doing this once, I'm doing it twice because I've already done this. So these are half the size, it's a lot easier. But I have to say, I have been using this scalpel blade since I was 16. So. And I've only ever had one mishap in almost 40 years. The 2 rules: don't have anybody near you when you're using a knife, in case they knock you. And always remember to always think, where is the knife going to go if it slips? And if you follow those 2 rules, you're fine. But I would suggest with the scalpel to always use glasses because they snap, as this one did earlier. But a paring knife, any knife would do. A little serrated cheese knife, anything would do. So that now can be popped back into there. To be used again, and I can stick this one down. I really wanted a nice flat edge, really. And this is a little bit gooey, I shouldn't have used this one, but what I'm going to do now is put a little bit of glue on. And I'm putting extra glue so that it will not come out, because it's not for me and I'd hate. It's not good this morning trying to get that in there. So that's yellow ochre, which is here. So that's going in the middle of there. And I'm squishing it down because I want the glue to come out. And if I really want to make sure, I can put a bead of glue all the way around. And that's made sure that that has got a seal all the way around to it. And they will never come off there. And you're not going to wet this. You're just going to touch the edge of the where's that little paintbrush I had? And obviously do your yellows first before you do your colour swatches to make sure that there is definitely no green or anything in there. And then a wet paintbrush, and it'll give you some idea of what colour you can get from there. But these are really nice to use for colouring in because it's just beautiful pure colour. I didn't follow my rule. Putting the little thing at the end of that. So that's 3 we've done. So pop that into there. And again, these, I think if you put them in the fridge, they would be a bit better. But again, that rule, that if that blade slips, it's not going anywhere near me. And if you just take your time and go around, some of these just pop out. In fact, most of them did. If you don't use them to start with, they just pop out. And again, I've already done that, so this is why this isn't as big, because I've already taken 2 millimeters off it. So it would be safer that's in half, so you get 3. So I told my daughter, I said, if Derwent won't take up my idea, she's going to be scribbling thousands of squares of pencils onto papers to make these little books. And that is a little bit thin, but pop that back in there. It's still pure colour. And this one was burnt sienna. So it's not very straight, isn't that? But I might use that. I used that one because that looks quite nice. So again, but that's all pure colour, is that? So it's quite a lot of colour there. And again, you know, this is just a little travel pack. You know, you are, if you're going away for a few weeks, but I go away for months with this thing. In fact, I'm very naughty. I sit at home with it on my knee, on my little cushion tray, and I could get these out, but I don't. I don't. I just open the little book and flash with the book. So what did we say this was? That burnt sienna. So burnt umber, burnt sienna. So that's going there. And I say I'm putting extra glue around. My hands are very shaky today. I don't know why. That'll be fun doing Inktober a bit later. So that's not going anywhere. I mean, mine, the only one that kept popping out was this yellow one. These two kept popping out. But these are the squishy ones. Whereas when this dead square, I got a lovely flat edge. So, but these would be. I thought I'd have to put something in there to keep them in, but they're doing really well. I'm very impressed with them, I have to say. I'm just going to open this up because these didn't dry. I'll leave those there. So some more now. There's just the 2 yellows and the blues I'm not going to do because they're a bit squishy. So I shall buy some more for that. And again, always remember to wipe. And if you wipe away with a blade, again, if it's going to slip, it's going over there. It's not going over here. And you need to wipe or wash the blade because the colours are pure colour. So I would start with the yellows, start with the lightest colours first, and then end up with, but because these have been used, that's why they're sticking. Normally they will actually fall out of the little pans. You're just teasing carefully. Yeah, because I've been using them a bit wet. So this is going to be a bit thick. But never mind. I might leave that to dry actually. I'm going to leave that out to dry. Because if it goes on here squishy, it won't be nice. So, has anybody got any questions? That one popped out quite nice, and again, that's not a very deep one because I've already cut a couple of millimeters off there. it's the reds and the yellows that are. So again, pop that into the centre and just stroke that down. You don't want more than this. A couple of millimetres ample. In fact, let's measure that, shall we? Then we'll see. It's 2 millimetres. That's ample. That's going to give you an awful lot of colour. Sorry, Snorri Pants. Not sure where he is. Shouldn't be looking for a dog when I've got a scalpel in my hands. A little bit skew with that, but so that then goes back in its pot, and this one up is ultramarine. And look for the nicest side. I can't believe my hands are not working today, but so ultramarine is there, so that's down there. And you could use this for field sketching, you can use this for anything, but I just think it's so amazing. But they are lovely to use and so easy for colouring in. I'm just going to tease that out there. It's not perfect, but you know, it's there, it's in. And that's cheap white PVA glue. It's not expensive glue. And so the pans, they're just a little bit lower down. I mean, that one is quite low down, but then you've got this. So you've gone from this to this. So this is my 21st century watercolour travel set. So I'm going to leave, that's going to dry. We'll see what this one does now. Did I clean it? Yes, I did. This is Elysian Crimson, so I'm not sure what this is going to do. And I just have a difficulty holding things. So. Oh, and it popped out. And again, I've used this one, so it's got the normally 6 millimeters. Then, what would be lovely is the full pans, because you get some, you know, really good colour. But it's quite soft, is this? So you can just tease that out gently. And then just gently stroke that into there. Tease that down. When you have a sharp knife in your hand, there's another rule: don't rush. If you're going to rush, don't pick that knife up, because you can guarantee you'll make a mistake. So again, I can pop that into there. As I managed to get these sets for £6. I thought that was extremely good. And we said this was Elysian Crimson, wasn't it? Yes. And I've tried to put the reds together, so Elysian Crimson is down here. And stroke that glue around the sides. What's this one now? This is, and again, because that's back into there, they don't actually look any different. I didn't push them down. I didn't push them down. So I've changed the camera angle, so I keep forgetting I should be over here, and really I should be here. But I can't move my elbows today. I've done a bit too much this week, and I can honestly say it's not good today. And again, that's half the size because I've already taken off a couple of millimetres. So just take your time, go steady. If this knife slips, it's going that way. It's a bit hard, it's a bit solid, so you could use a kitchen knife with that. Whoops. I mean, I can't push down in it very hard anyway, so actually I'm quite okay. But if you have a sharp scalpel blade, it's got no choice but to slide through there. And just take your time. Pop that back into there. And here we go. Because it is a bit malleable and pliable, you can actually flatten that out when you push down. And normally you don't want, so I want burnt umber. Push that out, and I'm just going to put a little bit right round. I'm putting extra glue because I say this isn't for me. And I just have to tell my husband that his phone rang. So we've got some colours in there. Your phone rang, Nigel, but I couldn't pick it up.
Okay.
So that one's not a sticky now, the red. So I'm going to do the red as well. Oh, it's quite soft though. You see, this is like butter. Look, it's just going straight through. So you've got to be a little bit careful because they're not all the same. But it was a bit stickier, that one. So I don't know which is worse, to have them when they're soft. There's quite a lot of colour on there, actually. I'd like to get some of that colour off there. Let's see if I can push that down. Oh, that was a mistake. Don't know why I did that. Oh, sorry, puppy alert. That was quite silly, that, because now I've got Goodness me. Yes, that's not what to do when they're soft, then don't do that. It was the Idiot's Guide, and I fell on that one. Oh my goodness me. It's because of all the colour, you see, but we'll just... It's pure colours. How silly, I didn't even want to put it there anyway. Why did I put it there? The brain today, the brain today. Oh dear. It's going to be one of those days, I think, isn't it? Right. I think it's because it was just too squashy. I should have left it a bit longer. But it's in there now. We'll just have to take that glue right round there. And that's going to stick. And I'm going to have to waste all that. And it's going to break my heart, but I'm going to have to do it. And I'm just stroking the blade across and away because it was a bit too sticky. And let's see if we can kind of sort this out. So it's a good job I did put it on card. So it's quite forgiving. So it's on there. Goodness me, I can't believe I did that. It's because I'm trying to rush. The cobalt blue is this one. This one. Let's see if that one will come out. I should have other sets of these. Because I bought them, say they were £6. They were quite a good price. I think recently the cheapest I've seen them is £8 something. Can we tease that out of there? And it's quite a thin one, isn't it? That's thin anyway, so if I just take this, kind of squish it down. If you make it too thick, oh, postman, oh, bark alert. I've actually flattened that down because I didn't want I didn't want, if you make them too thick, they'll stick out too much. But I'm making a bit of a pig's ear of this now. So let's see if we can squish this down. Oh yes. I decided to put extra glue because I said this isn't for me, so I don't want it to fall apart. And I'm in my nightgown, and my postman can see me in my nightgown. do excuse me 2 seconds. Oh, I've had a huge cardigan on. Don't we love it? Just put my cardigan on so you can't see my nightie. Thank you, darling. Oops, in the box. you.
Right, see you later.
Thank you. And it wasn't my Inspire book. Oh. Oh, it wasn't my Inspire book. Oh dear. I can't believe I could have paid £1.95 for it to be delivered the next day. Oh, I got all excited then. It wasn't my Inspire book. Sorry about that. Oh, right. I got a really big fluffy cardigan on so nobody can see me. Bless. He's quite used to me being in my nightie because it's not very often I'm dressed. Oh dear. So if I put my glasses back up there. So we've nearly got them all actually. So cerulean blue was the pale one, wasn't it? Let me have a look at that. Cerulean blue. Have a look. See if I can. I've got a funny feeling it was really bad. What I've done with cerulean blue. That's not cerulean blue. Oh, it is. That's cerulean blue. I will have a look at this one. So what I thought I would do after, and again you see there's not much left of this one, so I'm actually just going to stick that one on there. See if I can squash it down first. The only thing is there's a few woofy hairs, which is not nice. So if I squish that way, oh dear, yeah, the hands don't work. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. So if I put the glue on this side, and whoever gets this will have to forgive the fluffy bits underneath. But again, you see, I drop things, so once they're on the floor, just I'm hoping. So whoever gets this is going to get some nice. Oh, sorry. Oh, ow, 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 ow. This is why I don't do anything anymore. Whoops, isn't that terrible? So I'm going to put extra glue around this one. Yeah, it's a good job. Oh, we've been vegan and vegetarian for years, but I've just started eating a little bit of fish. But I couldn't cut anything up as it is. Never mind. There are worse things we could do. Oh look, we've nearly finished. So those two are empty now. Well, that's quite good because I wanted some empty ones to put some other things into there. So we'll clean this. Oh, you're too late with your Barry, you silly dog. Sorry, bug alert. Honestly, Alfie, 10 minutes late, darling. So we want lemon yellow and we want cad yellow. I think I'm able to get this out of there. So we'll get this. And you've got to think that this is going to be this is pure colour, but it's how to make it. It's just absolutely squishy. Oh, Alfie, you silly boy. I mean, the postman's just actually had his hand through the window and nothing but... This is not as easy. Oh, sorry, bark alert. Alfie. The only good thing is I don't think we'll be burgled. I shouldn't say that, shouldn't I? Right, so I've got most of the colour out of there and plastic, because of course it's a scalpel. So there was a little bit of red on there which I wanted rid of. Because I'd hate somebody to be doing something and that to come out, so just need to scrape that off there. So you certainly don't want... I'm just going to cut that out because there is enough yellow here to make a nice blob. Now, it doesn't look very nice, but it's going in there because you need the lemon yellow. You're very slow, Alfie. Nigel, there's a signed package here for you.
Okay, sorry, is it coming at the door?
No, he's the postman's been.
Oh.
Bless him, he put it through the window for me. I'm trying to keep some of that.
Right. I got it there. Okay, cheers.
So if I put that onto there like that, that will sit quite nicely. I'm trying to get, and this didn't work last time, so I'm trying to get a nice flat pan of colour. So it's actually quite a good thing that I made a big, just because my stomach, it's a good job I made it quite bigger. Oh, sorry, Bass. Silly bark alert. So there should be some quite a lot of colour on here for whoever gets this. Should be quite pleased. And if they pop off, oopsie, you've got more glue on that side than that side. You've got to be a little bit careful because, of course, the glue will melt the colour. But I don't think that's going anywhere. It doesn't look particularly neat, but it's there. And the last but not least, we have this one. So we've done them all. I'm just going to take this colour off here. Oh dear. That's the only thing about pets. They are quite nice, but and again, I knew that if that slipped, it would have gone straight to there. Oh, thank you, darling. It will go there. It will go here, darling. Thank you. I can't lift anything today. I must have hurt my hand today. Oh, my husband's just made me a cup of tea, bless him. So, again, this is a little bit of a squishy one. I would think put them in the fridge first. Little bit of a squishy one. It's a terribly squishy one. There we go. I'm going to have to leave that one because it's far too used to dry out. That I must have used it. I think these are my daughters actually. I don't know where my others are. So I'll leave that one. But we've got most of them on. There's just the cad. There's just the cad yellow. Sorry, yes, the cad yellow that needs to be on. So they're all in. So that was quite good. I'll pop that back onto here. onto there. I've cleaned that one. Put that back onto there, so that's away and safe. And so we've got those into the little books. That would be quite good. If I could find the little book, I'll put it somewhere now. So we've got 12 colours, and from those 12 colours you can make anything you want. So I need some packaging now, although I could actually use one of these. I could use one of these because this is quite nice plastic. Let's have a see what that looks like. So that's going to be stuck onto there. And then I need to make a label, which I've cut lots of little things here. I've got pages, everything that I wanted to use to make this. So somewhere should be some little strips. Or not. That's one. So we want, let's find if you put so we've got Windsor, whoops, didn't need that on there. So we've labelled it as well, although I would think that if you have this at the front you'll always know. But that means that whoever gets this, if they use more than one colour, they can just go get a set of these, or if they already have a set, they can just, goodness me, I can't even tear double-sided tape today. That was to go on there. They can just go to that one, look at the card red, and know it's the same one. So I just put that there. Sorry, my stomach is rumbling. I want that there. Oops, sorry, and that's there. It doesn't have to be exact, but I like to, if I can get it in the right place. Oh, I did it wrong last time as well. That's fine. So if I slide that there, and I wanted to do this on the typewriter so it would be nice and neat, but I just couldn't do. I just couldn't get it nice and neat. So when that dries, I shall stick that onto there. And now we have the Windsor and Newton in the little book, and look how thin that is. So that means that there isn't a colour you can't make with those, if that's all you had in there. But for watercolouring and for colouring in, it's just lovely to touch that, and then you can do a mushroom, or you can touch that and do a tree, and you don't have to mix if you don't want to. I'm quite pleased with that. They look quite sweet, and they are a little bit chunky. Some are not very well, some are thicker than others. The brown one, the burnt sienna, is quite a chunky one there. Look, it's quite chunky, but I was quite pleased with that. They look quite sweet there. So that's another 12 in our little book. So we're getting quite a few in here now. We've got the, although I'm going to do these again because it was an experiment. And I'm probably going to put them on here actually, I think, because it's for somebody else. I should put them on card. These are the Windsor and Newton. I tell a lie, they're not Windsor and Newton. I said that last time. They're the De La Rowney gouache. And they're just kind of like little fat puddles squished on top. So there's another 12. They go in there, protected by that page. And then we have the, I think I've got 18 hydrous watercolours. We've got 45 full set of peerless. There's 20 when my daughter makes the pencil squares. There'll be 24 Graphitint, Derwent Graphitint. And then we need the Inktense and the Derwent watercolour pencils. There's another 144. And then we have this, which of course is endless colours here. So there's quite a few colours in there already. I'm just going to leave that onto there to dry. So has anybody got any questions? Well, I was watching everybody else with the giveaways, and I got to 100 subscribers, and I thought, wow. And I thought, I can't afford to buy anything, and I thought, oh, this is awful. The giveaways are going to be kind of, ugh, you know, who's going to want this, or who's going to, you know, for £1 or so. And then I suddenly thought I could make one of these, and there will only be another one in the world like mine. And I thought, actually, that might make up for it. That might be okay. So I'm going to try and get a few hundred in here. I mean, and then if you look at the colour swatches, I haven't done a colour swatch for this. I might do that. I might pull this out and do a colour swatch under here somewhere, because again the peerless, the hydrous are wonderful, and because they've all got colour things next to them. And yeah, I've used the tiniest amount. You see that little dot? So they do last quite well. And as I say, if I've told my daughter that if Derwent don't do this, I shall be making these. So I might be able to have a little job after all, making my little books. But I think that's a bit too much. This is a bit ugly, but this is because I can't sometimes even open the boxes at home. I use this at home on my knee. And if I can't get out of bed, hubby can bring this up, and I'll just say, bring the book, and he knows what I mean. And it means I can at least just colour. And this is why this book works so well for disabled. You know, you look at something and you think, I want that colour, and you wet the brush and you touch it and you've got that colour. There's no pen tops, there's no digging around pencils, there's nothing. You just flick 600 colours and flick and mix and match, and there's something quite therapeutic about all this eye candy. I mean, I wish I'd got the Caran d'Ache colour 2s, but I can't justify paying for the full set, so I don't have the full set. I just have what I've got. You know, if you had the full set of these, you can put them in order like I did. This is the full set of the Derwent pencils, and they're labelled from number 1, and they go through So you've got all your yellows, the reds, the blues, the greens, the browns, and the siennas, and the greys. And the greys are quite spectacular. They are wonderful. I've just realised something. I've been telling fibs for weeks. I've been telling lies for weeks. Whoopsie. I've been telling fibs for weeks. Months. I knew it was gunmetal. This isn't graphitint. These are Derwent watercolours. And there's only 3 colours here. So this one here is the French grey number 70. This one here is gunmetal, which is 69. And what was the other one? The silver grey. That's the silver grey. There. And if you look here, no, I used 3. I used the 3. I knew I'd only used 3 colours, but I thought they were graphitint. But I did say it was gunmetal. So Thumper, this again, it was a photocopy because I wanted to play. Thumper was one of the first I did in this in these colours. So I did them in watercolour, Derwent watercolour pencils, and I've been telling everybody I did them in Derwent graphitint. Whoopsie! But there's all those shades from 3 pencils. So there looks to be nearly 10 shades there. And again, that's where the idea came from. There are 600 individual colour squares on here. There's probably a bit more now because I keep adding. But then if you think that there are 10 grades of shade, so depending how much water you put to it, you get 10 colours. That's 6,000 colours. Which, if you want to just colour in books, is perfect. Yeah, I can't believe that. I've been telling fibs. This is the graphite Derwent watercolour pencils. But again, here there's at least 10 different colours. And that's all one pencil. All this is one pencil. All the way around his face is one pencil. So that would be quite nice for the Kirby Rosanne Imagimorphia. Because I was looking at the graphitint to do all the metalwork, especially in these. But I might do them in Derwent pencils. I can't believe that I've been telling fibs for months. Oh, Dorothy says she's got her adapters for the pens. Oh, do you mean the parallel pens? Do they have adapters to use proper ink? Is that what you mean? Thank you. Isn't that strange? I cannot believe that. But these Derwent watercolour pencils are so understated. I mean, and they are so vibrant. I love the ink 10s. They're in here as well, 72 ink 10s. So I'm going to put those into my book, and that's 144 colours in quarter of an inch. But you have 144 colours there. And really, these are spectacular. You know, with the ink 10s, with the Derwent ink 10s, and the then the pale, what we call normal colours, and these colours, although they look pale, they're quite vibrant. This is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do well, I'll stop the video actually, but yeah, I love this book, so I'll stop my video because I think I've waffled for a few minutes. So we've managed to get quite a few into this little book, but I'm going to make some. I'm going to make some other ones as well, because of course nowadays you can get these from. This is all the clubs when we go to these model shows have stands that people donate things. So I ended up with buying 10 of these, and I wanted to use these for giveaways as well. So there's different ways to use them, and again, that's such a lovely little size. And if you can get a few hundred colours in there, that's a lovely size. And I can actually hold that. And if I drop it, I'm not going to do any damage. Yeah, I drop this all the time. It's forever being chucked on the floor. Now, if I was making this again, as I say, I broke the spine, but my hands will not do this. I did it a few years ago. And it gets thrown about. And although it's not precious, because it cost me a few, it was £1.50 for the actual photo pocket. But there's something nice about these. These are kind of, and they're a little bit sturdier, I think. But £1.50 and some photocopy paper and one sheet of the post-its, which I bought for £1 actually. So a couple of quid. But it's worth its weight in gold, is this. You could not get all your peerless out. You couldn't get 72 pencils of Derwent ink pens, 72 pencils of the Derwent watercolours, 24 tins of Graphitint pencils. I think there's about 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12, 24, 36. Some have repeated though, they are repeated colours. I've probably got about 40 of those. Near colour 2s. And then there's some other crayons I've found. These are Caran d'Ache shiny watercolour pencils. They're in them metallic. And then there's the Hydrus. I've got some other charcoals in there. 36 Ganzai watercolours. About 20 Hydrus. PH Dr. Martin's Hydrus. There's 12, what do you call those? Faber-Castell colour sticks, crayon sticks, they're in there, and they're of course very vibrant. And then there's some pencils. If it's water-based, and if it has a picture of, these are some Derwent water-soluble sketching pencils, and of course they're in there as well. There's some Prismalo somewhere, set of Prismalo 12. Anything that has a watermark on it will go in here. So there's a good set in there. So thank you for watching, and I'll stop the record. I'll stop the recording now. Thanks for watching.